Exercise Pitch Black provides the opportunity to develop and enhance Air Force's greatest strength, its people, to respond anytime, anywhere that the Australian government requires. The Royal Australian Air Force has deployed all over the world, supporting humanitarian aid, disaster relief missions, to coalition operations, whenever we are called upon to assist. Exercises such as Pitch Black are essential for training not only our air power capabilities, but importantly, it provides an opportunity to train our people in realistic scenarios and prepare them for operations. Around 115 aircraft descended on the top end for this year's exercise, but they didn't get here without the aircrew to fly the jets, technicians to maintain them, or the logistics team. Nearly 3,000 military personnel participated in Exercise Pitch Black 2016 as the entire team came together to deliver air power. Flying Officer Tracey explains the important capability that is delivered by some of our talented and highly skilled Air Force personnel here on Exercise Pitch Black.
People who think of Air Force would typically imagine aircraft, but rarely consider the capability at the heart of how we deliver air power. That capability is our people. Even a remotely piloted aircraft like the Heron takes a team of people to fly, sustain, and analyse the information it collects. We can't provide air power without our people, and we need exercises like Pitch Black to train and develop how individuals deliver for Air Force. What's more, the same people capability is how we build relationships at Pitch Black throughout our Air Force and with international partners. For nearly a century, our Air Force has a proven record of deploying at short notice and sustaining air power over great distances. That record is all down to our people capability, and with advanced aircraft and systems coming online, Air Force is now embarking on a new era under Plan Jericho. The one constant that will remain is our people capability, which will continue to be at the heart of how we deliver air power.
With hundreds of jets engaged in air combat missions during Exercise Pitch Black, the KC-30 air-to-air multi-role tanker transport remains on station, ready to provide fuel in the battle space. The KC-30 has been refuelling both Australian and coalition aircraft during the exercise. The tanker has a whole team delivering the force multiplier capability, including the technicians who are responsible for keeping the jet serviceable to fly.
I have this huge passion for aircraft. I've always loved aircraft ever since I was a little boy, and I joined the Air Force straight up, and that's what makes me get out of bed every day. I'm a avionics technician, and it's basically a auto electrician on a aircraft. We work on like the electrical distribution systems, we work on the radar, communications, pod and boom for air-to-air refueling, which is some of the military sides to it. My role gets this aircraft in the air through maintenance of electrical systems and just general servicing to get the aircraft consumables in place. You're working on the aircraft and it's pretty important to get everything right. You want to make sure everything's down to detail, otherwise when the aircraft flies, it can't just stop anywhere. The teamwork is very critical because without one, you can't have the other. So without technicians, the aircraft won't be serviceable to fly, and without aircrew to fly the aircraft, it's not going anywhere. But we also need, like the technicians need support from the equipment section and the ops and even the clerks. So we all work as a big team. So when the plane landed, we carried out a S-51 servicing. So it's basically just trailing out the hose of the pod and inspecting the hose for any damage. Because the aircraft are traveling at such fast speeds, there is some error that can happen. So we are just making sure the basket's okay and the hose won't leak any fuel. So some of the things we inspect on the KC-30 on an afterflight is such as the wingtip, the static wicks, the leading edge, the flaps, the canopies for the flaps, the engines themselves. All the lights are still working in good condition. And we're checking for bird strikes or any rocks or anything that could have hit the aircraft during flight. It makes you proud to be Australian, seeing your aircraft refueling a coalition's aircraft and just helping each other out in general.
Joint Battlefield Airspace Controllers, or JBACs, have a long history of supporting operations around the globe. From peacekeeping to full combat, JBACs provide essential airspace management to ensure our aircrew can navigate safely in the skies as they depart on mission and return home. Here at Pitch Black, our JBACs have been managing hundreds of aircraft movements a day to support the exercise.
Julia Bravo Zulu, cleared, visual approach, Australian runway 36, 10 miles, contact tower 133.1, g'day. When I plug in every day, I may only just be talking to a few aircraft at a time, but I also understand that pilots rely on that, and without the pilots, obviously, we wouldn't be providing the air power and the capability that we do internationally and in Australia. So I'm a Joint Battlefield Airspace Controller, or a JBAC, and essentially that's an air traffic controller, but we do a little bit more here, and we have some applications when we go outfield as well. We can do a little bit more than just standing in a tower or in a radar room. When I am working, obviously there's a number of inputs. We're speaking to aircraft in the air, we're speaking to aircraft on the ground, and we're also speaking to other agencies. So when we're downstairs in the approach room, we'll be talking to the tower, and we can also be talking to controllers in Brisbane and all over Australia. So because of that, we've obviously got a lot going on at once. So keeping our air picture and continually scanning what we have done, what we have to do, and yeah, what's sort of coming up and what's just happened. So just a continual run through of what we're doing. Obviously safety is something that we're always thinking about here. We also think about expedition, trying to get aircraft on the ground or to their destination as quick as we can, but obviously never compromising safety as well. When we work with the Australian and foreign military forces here, obviously sometimes we can have a bit of a language barrier on the radio, but they're also very good operators, so what we ask usually gets done, and military forces tend to work at a fairly high level, and they know what they're doing, so yeah, it's good to have them on board. And while it increases our workload, it works quite well working at the international airport as well.
Air Force 1, Roger, continue approach.
Exercises like Pitch Black here, we have to ramp up and work a lot harder. On a day-to-day basis, it's fairly busy here anyway, being an international airport. And so when we do have a heightened military activity here, yeah, we sort of have to all strive together and work a little bit harder. One of the big things for me that I really enjoy about this job is the teamwork, knowing that everyone's always got your back, and yeah, it is a fairly rewarding career. I think that we achieve a lot every day on a day-to-day basis, and yeah, I love it. So.
Keeping a watchful eye over the airfield and RAF base during exercise Pitch Black are our security forces personnel, highly trained in specialist security tasks. These personnel support the overall force protection measures to provide a secure operating environment. Here at the exercise, the personnel who provide the security forces include security police, airfield defence guards, military working dog handlers, and airbase protection. Combined, they protect Australian and international air assets and personnel through detect, deter, and deny threats. This exercise allows our security forces to meet any operational commitments.
I joined the Air Force mainly because I wanted to do something different, get some adventure. I also wanted a physical job, so ADG definitely stood out. I'm posted to 2 Sec 4 Amberley, and I'm an airfield defence guard, and we provide ground defence against any hostile enemy forces. The team environment is great. It's always good to know that other people have your back and you've got theirs. The relationships are very tight because you work with them so long for so many hours that it's all very close.
Zero Alpha, this is Mike Victor, just finished foot patrol of area and moving on to the next. Over.
Being in the Air Force has definitely lived up to my expectations. I've got to travel so many different places and learn so many new and unique skills that you wouldn't get in every other day.
Air Force's most valuable asset is its people. Superior air power is achieved through our diverse people capability. Air Commander Australia, Air Vice-Marshal Gavin Turnbull, reflects on Air Force delivering air power and our people who are here working together as an integrated team.
I remember several of my first pitch blacks in the early 90s, and the memory I take away from those, firstly, is how much fun they were, particularly with all the foreign participants and all the new or different aircraft that we were fighting against, the size of the exercises and how the complex operations that we were getting involved in, and the enjoyment that came out of everybody in the exercises. And there was always a great deal of fun, particularly back in those days we had the F-111 still, so we were chasing those things all over the country. It was great fun. The Air Force of today is a very different Air Force to one that I joined back in the early 80s. Back in the early 80s we were a not particularly busy Air Force. We were not particularly focused on operations. We were an Air Force that had come out of Vietnam and was kind of breathing out for a little while. Over the last 25 years we've become a smaller, far more professional, focused Air Force with far more hardware and far more professional people than we ever have had before. Into the future, and this relates to the Jericho theme, and relating to what we'll look like in 2018, we will be a far more integrated small force with far more technical and far more capable equipment. In Pinch Black 16, we've put a lot of effort into making the exercise as seamless as possible for the participants. It involves the introduction of personnel from our brand new Air Warfare Centre. It involves making sure we have a large control organisation that's effective. So what I've seen in Pitch Black 16 compared to the last 25 odd years is that things have worked from day one. Simple things like the IT infrastructure and the control mechanisms, and it makes it a whole lot easier for the foreign participants to integrate and do their primary training without worrying about all the support aspects. It's all about integration. So that the Air Warfare Centre is driving us toward, and as are all the commanders, a more integrated force, so that everything we do is not simply about whether the fighter forces are doing what they should be, but it's about integrating everybody with those fighter forces to make them far more effective in doing their job. Without the people and without the professionalism that we have in our people, we don't have an exercise. It is as simple as that. The exercise is around not just the 2,500 extra people we have put into the exercise itself, it's about the capability of the airbase and the people that manage that airbase. Everything we do is about the people that own, operate, repair or manage the systems that we operate.
In the next episode, we thank the people of the Northern Territory and look back on a successful multinational exercise. That's in the next episode of Pitch Black News.